Welcome back, my fellow advocates, and welcome to the first time viewers. I appreciate you all tuning into the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. I am Reggie B. Once again, I appreciate you all tuning in, tapping in. So let's get right into it. The topic of discussion that we are going to be discussing in this video is just being mindful of investing our time. So we're gonna start off this conversation with the question. And my question to you is, what are some activities and or tasks that you engage in that is wasting your time? That is a time waster. So I pose this question to you. And the first thing that comes to my mind, and I feel like for those who are watching, for some of you, this one particular activity may be the first thing that comes to your mind. And that particular activity is social media. Going through social media, I feel like that is one of the major activities that we engage in regards to wasting our time. Now, I know, social media can be very beneficial to us, to some of us. For some of us, we can monetize on social media. For some of us, it's a way for us to connect with people, stay connected with our family, with our friends, and all that good stuff. So there are actually some benefits of social media. Some of these social media sites have some very valuable information. I can speak on that. I've gotten some very valuable information off of social media. A lot of the information that I share with you on the podcast and the YouTube channel, I've gotten from social media. So, as I mentioned again, social media can be very, very beneficial. Now, the issue with social media is going down a quote unquote rabbit hole. See, that's where it starts. That's where the issue lies. This is where we waste our time. It's one thing to check on people, it's one thing to stay connected with people, it's one thing to monetize. Along with myself, and I feel like with others, we get stuck in that rabbit hole as we're going through social media. We're not limiting our time on social media, and as a result, it can be a time waster. It wastes our time as we're scrolling. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I feel like another thing that comes to mind to answer the question, what are some activities and or tasks that you engage in that waste your time? Another thing that comes to mind is watching TV or nowadays watching YouTube videos. Now, I'm all for entertainment. I'm all for it. I have some favorite TV shows that I love to watch from time to time. I have some favorite movies that I like to, put on and watch. I have, there are YouTube channels that I like to look at. If there's any other video platforms out there, I like to watch certain videos. And I'm pretty sure that applies to everyone else who is watching this video. And I'm all for entertainment, as I mentioned. I like to look at my favorite comedy show, and I love to laugh, right? When it comes to YouTube videos, as I mentioned before, there's some valuable information on these YouTube channels. But where the issue lies is that the binge watching things that we don't need to be watching certain things that's not bringing us value. And not only that, watching something over and over again, you could be watching something for 1 hour, then 1 hour turns into 2 hours, turns into turns into three, four, so on and so on. And we're sitting there binge watching when we could have been doing something productive. And as a result, it has wasted our time. That's another example of an activity that we may engage in or a task that we may engage in that wastes our time. Now, I feel like with social media and TV, those are kind of low hanging fruit. I mean, it's easy to say that, social media can waste our time. Watching TV or watching YouTube videos can be a waste of time. That's easy. I want to dig in a little deeper. Here's at least a couple of more things that could potentially be wasting our time that we engage in. Hanging out with certain people. That's right. The company that we keep. Depending on who you hang out with, depending on who you decide to hang out with. If you want to go out and connect with somebody, y'all may go out somewhere and y'all may hang out and this or that or whatever. That particular person may be wasting your time. Whatever y'all are doing, it may not be in a line with what you're really trying to do. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. It may not be aligned with your vision or your passion or your purpose of what you want to do. And that leads me to the next answer. What are some activities and or tasks that you engage in that waste your time? Just things in general that are not aligned with your vision and your purpose. You know, once you have a vision in place, once you identify your purpose, you want to start doing things that align with those things. You want to start being around people, hanging out with people, connecting with people that aligns with your vision and your purpose. And when it is not aligned with your vision and your purpose, you could potentially be wasting time. So there it is. Feel free to leave a comment below in regards to some other activities or tasks that we may engage in that waste our time. You know, if it's not social media, if it's not watching TV and videos, hanging out with certain people, doing things that are not aligned with our vision and our purpose. Feel free to leave a comment below and let me know what you think about that, right? So let's get into the next part of this video. So I want to share with you my personal thought, my personal opinion in regards to wasting time. So my purpose of this video basically is to encourage you to be mindful of your time, to be mindful that you're not wasting your time. And here is the word of the video. I feel like that in order for us to avoid wasting our time, the word of the video is prioritize. Prioritize our time. Now, how do we do that exactly? I have one suggestion for you, one tip that I'm going to share with you, and that is to make a to-do list. Simple enough, right? Make a to-do list. So when it comes to the activities that you engage in, when it comes to the task that you have to perform, I would encourage you to make a to-do list. And better than that, put them in order from most important to least important. So, of course, our most important task we want to do first. We want to get it out the way if we can. We definitely want to do that first, right? Which activities and tasks has the most priority in our eyes. We want to do that first. So let's kick it up a notch. Let's take it to the next level. So not only am I encouraging you to rank your priorities, rank your tasks from most important to least important, be specific in regards to what time you're going to start that task and what time that you plan on wrapping it up and ending that task. Determine the amount of time that you're going to spend on each task on your to-do list. That's the way to take it up a notch. That's a way to take it to the next level. Now let's take it up another level. Let's take it up one more notch. And how do we do that? Let's do this. Let's set our alarms on our phones, on our devices to alert us when to start our task and when to finish our task. That's taking it up another notch. Reminding us. It's just a reminder. That's pretty much what it is. And I feel like that can be very helpful as we go along on our journey. That can be very helpful in prioritizing our time. So let me know what you think about that. Prioritizing our time. Those particular tips I shared with you. Making a to-do list. being specific about what time that you start and what time that you finish, setting an alarm to basically just alert you and giving you a reminder on performing your tasks. So before I close this video, we're talking about prioritizing our time, just encouraging you to be mindful of your time, that we're not wasting it. So in the previous video, we talked about money, not wasting money. And one of the things that I brought up was the return on investment, the ROI. Whenever you're investing your money, what is the return on investment? What is the ROI? I feel like the same thing applies to our time, to time management, how we invest our time. What is the return on investment when we are investing our time in certain people, doing certain things, going into certain spaces? When it comes to spending time with people, I would encourage you to ask the question, what is your return on investment when you're hanging out with somebody, when you're connecting with somebody? Are you developing a new relationship? Are you sustaining a relationship? Are you strengthening your relationship? What are they bringing to the table? I would encourage you to ask that question. When it comes to going into certain spaces, you know, as we go hang out with somebody, when you meet up with somebody, whether you're going to their house, whether you're meeting up somewhere, one of my favorite things to go to networking events. I like to go to different conferences. I like to go to networking events. I like to go to social gatherings. So when you go into these particular spaces, what is the return on investment? How is it benefiting you? Are you getting opportunities? Are you gaining knowledge? What is your return on investment? I would encourage you to ask yourself that question as well. Should we cut off certain people? I think we should really just take this under consideration. And I feel like this is where self-inventory comes in. As I mentioned before, think about the people that you hang out with. Think about the people that you talk to on the phone. Think about the people that you text. When you are investing your time into these people, when you are investing time in interacting with these people, what is the return on investment? You got to think about that. And again, I mentioned, if it doesn't align with your purpose, if it doesn't align with your vision, you may want to think twice about if you should be connected with certain individuals. At least maybe limiting the interaction or completely cutting them off. Something to consider. When we go into certain places, when we go into certain spaces, I pose the question again, what is the return on investment? Should we stop going into certain places? Again, if it doesn't align with your vision, if it doesn't align with your purpose, if you're not getting a return on investment, you may want to think twice about that as well. Whether you want to go into certain spaces or certain places or not. Something to consider. Peace and blessings to you as you continue your journey. So let me know what you think about this topic. We are talking about basically just being mindful of our time, managing our time, how we invest our time. Something to think about, y'all. We talked about certain activities that waste our time. We talk about prioritizing our time, making that to-do list, being mindful of the return on investment when we are spending time with people, when we're going into certain places. So let me know what you think about it. Once again, feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to receive your feedback. I am Reggie B, aka the Growth Advocate, and I appreciate you all tuning into this video. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going.